In silence I dwell, a ghost beneath the skin. Eyes burned by truth, I bury deep within. The ash of my name still stains the earth. No rebirth, just a memory cursed. I scream through the static of fractured dreams, a shadow of man torn at the seams. Drown me in the crimson mist where guilt and madness coexist. The light I lost, I let it die, buried beneath a fractured sky. These hands once reached for something pure, now tremble in doubt I can't endure. A hollow vessel built from pain, cursed to walk through fire and rain. No salvation, no peace inside, only echoes of the self I hide. Born from ash, forged in shame. You can't kill what never had a name. I was never whole, only fragments stitched together by guilt, by fear, by the silence of forever. Drown me in the crimson mist where guilt and madness coexist. The light I lost, I let it die, buried beneath a fractured sky. So tear me down in flame and steel, let the pain be all that's real. This ashen veil, my legacy, a soul unmade, no memory. In silence I dwell, a ghost beneath the skin. Eyes burned by truth, I bury deep within. The ash of my name still stains the earth. No rebirth, just a memory cursed. I scream through the static of fractured dreams, a shadow of man torn at the seams. Drown me in the crimson mist where guilt and madness coexist. The light I lost, I let it die, buried beneath a fractured sky. These hands once reached for something pure, now tremble in doubt I can't endure. A hollow vessel built from pain, cursed to walk through fire and rain. No salvation, together by guilt, by fear, by the silence of forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway, where anything can happen and usually does. My uncle stole a pace car one time and he got to drive around it once. So anything really can happen, and dreams or nightmares can come true here. Tonight, the HPRL drivers strap in for an 85 lap white knuckle pack racing action under the lights. It's actually daytime, I lied. With stage breaks coming at 15 and 35, strategy is going to be an important survival here. And one of the fastest and most unpredictable tracks on the schedule. One wrong move in the draft, one big one can strike in a heartbeat. But if you play your cards right, you find yourself in position to take the checkered flag. Enemies to lovers, lovers to friends, friends to enemies, back to lovers again. This race can go in any direction. From the booth, I'm Thaddeus, alongside Trevor, with Bobby holding it down in production. And you're watching the HPRL racing at its finest. Let's go trackside for the green flag at Talladega. But first, Trevor, what would your strategy be here at Talladega to stay out of the dreaded big one?
Well, I've got to say, I mean, I'm from Talladega actually, so I've seen a lot of racing and I've seen a lot of the ups and downs. But if anybody has been paying attention to a lot of the stuff I've said over the course of the season, you know I want to be pushing it. I typically like to stay second car inside row, pushing the leader. And I find that I'm able to avoid a lot of the drama so long as there's no drama between the leaders. That way, and let the wrecks kind of happen behind me. So that's where I would choose to be. I know a lot of people want to start from the back and have enough of a cushion to eat up before they get to the wreck. I'm taking the opposite strategy. I'm trying to be ahead of the wreck. So
My strategy, you can't be in the wreck if you are the wreck. Chew on that one, Trevor. Now let us go to the grid. Rolling off in first, we have JD Baker in the beautiful Carson Hocevar Chevrolet. That truck says, if gap, then car. Wiser words have never been spoken. In second, we have Jared Mahone in that 26 car that everybody knows and loves. In third, the Dollar General 43 of Caleb Sibbett. In the 83 of CJ Brewer. In fifth, we have Keith Ayers. In sixth, we have Will Moore. In seventh, we have Chris Griffin, a beautiful Dodge. And Matt Casbaro in the 13 with the cool Dale Earnhardt throwback. In 24, we have Christopher Hockley in ninth place with Steve Whitmore next to him in the 70. In 11th, we have Bryson McGee. In 12th, we have Seth Owens in the Skull 3. I like the bandit colors. In 13th, we have Joshua Robinson in his usual Hooters car. And Joshua Baker in the 58 Dollar General car. Really big fans of Dollar General here. Rodney Roberts in the 9. It's a good Everham throwback. And Jason Baker in the 85. In 17th, we have Jason Steptoe. In 18th, we have Keenan Kimber in the 65. In 19th, we have Jerry McKinney. And rounding out your top 20, we have Derek Grigsby in the 5. In 21st, probably a strategy play, we have Emil Duna in the 14 car. In 22nd, we have Patrick Schaefer. And rounding out the field, we have David Palmer in the 41 truck. Now you can see as we're coming around the Carson host of our 78. Now, Trevor, you said you'd try to stay in that bottom line. Why do you think that would be important, or why do you say that would be important, I should say?
So a lot of the times here at super speedways, because of the banking and the momentum, when you lock your tires, the centrifugal force is going to want to push you to the outside of the track. And so a lot of the wrecks, you'll see they actually wash up the track because it's essentially the easiest way to go when you're going so fast. So staying to that inside line, I think, is a really crucial key to surviving wrecks because it also gives you the possibility to use the apron as well. It gives you a lot of opportunities, a lot of different ways you can go. Whereas if you're locked on that high side as well, you essentially have one lane, and that is the top lane. So that's why I think the inside line is a lot safer.
I do think it is wise. I do think that staying on the bottom lane is definitely better for your survival in this race as we are coming to green. Oh, we got a car in the grass. It looks like we're having a technical malfunction on that 18 car. But we are green here, and we are racing the 78 with no help behind him. The 26 is going to bring that outside line around. And that 78 is probably gonna drop pretty fast.
Immediately got hung out to dry there on that start. You've got to have a good pusher here to persevere, I should say.
Well, I don't know if I would call it getting hung out to dry because he it wasn't like he was on the outside lane. He just kind of didn't have the help on the inside. That bottom lane really backed up. Ooh, and Jared Mahone jumps to the inside. See the 13 of Matt Kisbaro, and then the second place car, CJ Brewer. I'll jump to that inside lane. Now they have more help. Here comes Steve Whitmore on the outside. Jared Mahone, your current points leader. Trevor?
And it looks like they've already kind of filtered out to that bottom line a lot. I know we've still got, I count 6 trucks, 6, 7 maybe trucks there on that high line. And I do think that if Daytona was any kind of judge of what Talladega is going to be like, we're going to see a lot of trucks filtering to one line, I do believe. And I don't know, it's lap 2. They're still kind of feeling everything out. I know they've got to make it to lap 15 for that first stage, but I do think that we're going to see a lot of filtering, as I think I saw a slow truck. Oh, he's just out of the draft. My bad, y'all. But yeah, no, I do think we're going to see a good little bit of racing here at the beginning, but towards stage 2, stage 3, we're going to see a little bit more filtering.
Yeah, stage 1, everybody kind of, minding their P's and Q's here. They know it's a long race, 85 laps. At any other track, 85 laps would seem pretty short, but at Talladega, it's grueling, especially when you have things start getting more aggressive. I'd imagine towards the end of this stage, you're going to see a lot of people hopping out of line, trying to figure out who their friends are and who their friends are not. As you see Jared Mahone and Matt Kisbaro, kind of the Pod Pipers of this race right now. 2 teammates trying to keep the rest of the field behind them.
Now, I do wonder if that's a strategy choice. Being on the same team, I know they got separated, but maybe it's good to have a teammate controlling the outside line and you controlling the inside line and being able to, take hold of the race, so to say, where you're not getting passed by so many people because you are the leaders, kind of thing.
Well, let's say we get down to the last lap of the stage. Trevor, are you letting your teammate win the stage, or are you winning the stage?
I think I've proved that before there at Atlanta in the Cup car. I'll do what it takes to win a race, even if it's on my own teammate. Not necessarily wrecking them, but I'll definitely defend myself.
Yeah, I'm wrecking you at Atlanta. Anyway, so we're going to get to the line here. Steve Whitmore, kind of, really good pusher in the last Daytona race, the last super speedway. He's pushing Matt Kisbaro way out to the lead. But do you think that's called for this early in the race? We don't really need to be on everybody's bumpers, but Steve Whitmore definitely confident in these restrictor plate races. Is that who you would want to see pushing you, or do you think that maybe he's being too aggressive right now?
I wouldn't say that it's too early to be so aggressive. because one thing that does is that, yeah, you have the possibility of blowing your motor in some cars, or causing wrecks if there's a push gone wrong. But I do think that one good that comes from being aggressive early is that, one, most likely you're going to be towards the front because these guys are not going to be pushing quite so hard to try and stay ahead. But two, that's going to let all the drivers around you know that, hey, I'm here, I mean business, and I will push you. And so you can sort of get some friends out there already that's going to want to have you behind them pushing. And so I don't necessarily think that it's a bad call to uh, not be afraid to push. Even here we are, lap 6, actually over halfway to stage 1. But I do think it could be a really good thing for Matt Casbaro.
Yeah, Matt Casbar on that outside line. We've seen a bunch of different kind of strategies here, like outside line, inside line. I know towards the beginning you'd want to be on you want to be on that inside line, kind of avoid the wrecks as the race goes on. These guys get super aggressive toward the end of the race, but right now everybody kind of sinking in where they need to. But what would be as you see a third line forming up there with Amel, Duna taking it to 3 wide and gaining some steam with less cars. Trevor?
Most definitely. I think it's kind of funny. As soon as you say, "Oh, we're kind of settling in," nope. Here comes the third line. They want some stage points, I've got to say. And I say that, and a lot of people sort of filter down to that bottom. Now, one thing I will say, we kind of beat up on anything but the inside line, but the outside line does actually carry a good bit of momentum. You just have to be really in with the car in front of you pushing, and you get a 3-person line, and you can really carry some momentum. So I do think the top line can be effective. You just have to have the right sort of people there to make the benefits outweigh the disadvantages.
Speaking of disadvantage, Matt Casbaro, he got hung out to dry. He got dropped to the back of the pack. So that's a tough break for him, but it's still only halfway. So hopefully he can make his way back to the front, but tough break and hung out to dry on the outside, and having to back up to. Ooh, that was a tight move against Josh Robinson. That's 17. Matt Casbaro drops to the inside line and then jumps back out. So it's gonna be that's something I'm really excited to see, is how these lines are gonna form as this stage draws to an end. A lot of aggressive moves now being made. I'm surprised this early in the race these guys trying to like kind of force their ways up front. You see JD and Joshua link up.
And I've got to say, these guys look like they are hungry for points, because you'll see them kind of filter out and, okay, calm, and then here we are like a couple laps later and we're already back 3 wide. So I do think these guys are ready to race, and not necessarily just saying, "Oh, it's Talladega, there's gonna be the big end." No, they're not letting the track or anything kind of affect that. They are racers and they are here to race. So I'm excited to see sort of that aggression coming out this early in the race. Maybe not a good thing, but I know these are some really talented drivers, and out of all the leagues I'm in and seen, I think these guys can really pull it off. Especially after what we saw at Daytona with all the saves, all the close racing. So I think this is going to be a good race here on tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, most definitely. As we're seeing them go 3 wide, you got Joshua and JD on the outside, or JD and Joshua, I should say. Baker. Oh, now and they just went into 2 wide. They're really moving around a lot. Honestly, I'd be terrified as the 65 kind of with internet issues kind of disappears right there, and that's a little sketchy. That you have to kind of deal with that in iRacing, like, and it's frustrating as a driver. I've had it happen where you're having internet issues and you kind of disappear from the map for a split second, but that could mean total destruction of the field or making it to the checkered flag. So got to watch that. Oh, as it gets into it, and we're gonna get a wreck
He's around.
right into
He's
the points
around.
leader, Jared Mahan. 65 around Christopher Hockley in the 24, Steve Whitmore in it. I'm not gonna call that the big one, but man, it that had the potential to be a category 5. Holy criminy!
Oh man, it just looked like a. Let's see here. Yeah. Ah, he wanted to follow him to the low line, and it just did not work.
Yeah, you had kind of a rough block there by Casbaro, and then he went back up, and I think he thought he had more room when he came back up, and just realized he didn't. Tried to come back down. There's already a car there, and just went around.
And I will say, oh,
Ooh, barely made. Never mind.
that was a near
Was Steve
miss,
Whitmore.
almost perfection, but there just wasn't the space.
Good job
Honestly,
until that
good
point.
on him with damage control, because even though he did collect some damage from that, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely a good
Oh,
job of locking up his brakes. Coming to a stop, making yourself more predictable for the cars behind you if there are. We just see Matt Casbaro in the lead, kind of pushing that pace truck. But here for a second, let's bring up our points while we have some time. You see Jared Mahone in the lead with Jesse Sperling, Joshua D. Baker, Steve Whitmore, and Jason D. Baker, your top 5. Jared involved in that wreck, but with 45 points, he's got a little bit of a cushion, but not enough to keep it if you get wrecked out here. Trevor, you've been in a situation very similar to that here recently.
very very similar situation. Yeah, trying to maintain that points gap. I know this is early season, but all these points matter where you don't have to have this kind of a little bit of a cushion, but one race is all it takes, and then you won't be like me stressing there at the last race to win the championship.
Most definitely. They as the points leader, you want as the leader in the race, you want a big as a buffer as you can get. But definitely would tighten that up or have him be surpassed if he gets in a wreck. So we see everybody getting their service done. Looks like
Most definitely.
Jason Steptoe came off of pits first. Not sure if he did a gas and go or if he you know just got two tires.
I don't necessarily think a gas and go here at Dega is a bad thing, because this track doesn't really eat a whole load of tires, whereas other tracks would. But I'm going to take this talking opportunity. We do have a number 5 fan in the chat. Says he's riding along with the Old Monkey Cards Ram number 5. Let's go. So glad to see that we've got some fans for some different drivers in here. That number 5 is looking pretty nice. But I am also going to take this opportunity. If y'all have anybody that y'all are wanting to support, maybe you want to shout out a driver, maybe you're here with a question. I mean, just let us know. We'll get you a shout out for your driver, get you some insight into what the drivers are having to deal with within their car. We are, I would like to say, knowledgeable, but over here in the booth. But yeah, shout out your
Yeah,
driver.
and if like if you're riding along and you have a company on one of these trucks and you mentioned in the comments, who knows, maybe we'll give your company a little plug there too. Speaking of companies, we have a ad read real quick before this caution ends. You like veterans? Of course you do. You're listening to one right now. You like racing? We've made it this far. And I don't like to make assumptions, but you might like both. And that's okay. We don't judge. We're a veterans and affiliated network, and we're a soon to be nonprofit that needs your help. Yeah, you. We help veterans with all things iRacing, whether it's teaching racecraft, paints, or how to broadcast. We look to encompass everything in house to help veterans better their lives using iRacing, the most realistic sim. If like to sponsor us, or you're a veteran interested in getting help in iRacing, contact us at veterans and affiliated network at gmail.com. And hey, get in the van. Trevor?
Um, and so while you were doing the ad read, turns out the number 12, the boy took flight in that wreck while hitting the grass. So apparently we missed some airborne action,
Oh,
and
man.
then also old monkey cards on eBay and whatnot riding along with the number 5 Ram. So if you uh, want any old monkey cards, they are on eBay. So go ahead and check them out. As we're coming around, I believe this is 3 or 4. Coming back to green, Thaddeus.
Yeah, that is the stage. We wanted to get the stage winner in here, but unbeknownst to us, we didn't know it was stage. So we will get them in here as soon as possible, probably at the next caution. So don't worry. If your favorite driver won stage, we will definitely be able to. If Jason Steptoe, who's leading, won the stage, we will get him in here and get a little chat with him as to how that first stage went for him. But now coming to the green, Jason Steptoe now in a position to win the stage and lead the race. And he gets a big jump in that restart zone. He's going to clear Jared Mahone.
And it looks
Steptoe
like our
in the
top
lead.
4 has cycled down into that bottom, but it does appear we have more people coming on that outside. Oh, as the outside does fall apart for most part, but it does seem to still hold a good amount of people. A lot of people are starting to cycle up there as we see 3 and 4 go. P3 and 4 go up there and say, "Hey, I want to lead some laps." So they popped out, see people coming, and they're just waiting for them to use that air and suck back up to the tailgates, take some air off that line. But it does appear that the inside line is withholding a good amount of people there. It looks like just about every straightaway, people are trying to sort of filter out where they want to go.
Yeah, it almost looked like a high-speed pace lap where guys were trying to warm up their tires. You saw guys going left and right trying to figure out where. Oh, as Seth Owens gets in the Baker. Oh, big wreck. That was huge contact for Seth Owens.
That is going to be a fast repair indeed, as you can already see him smoking. It looks like he may have blown that motor pretty early on here, as we're only lap 16.
That's gonna hand the lead over to Chris Griffin. Chris Griffin in that beautiful Dodge 12, but Seth Owens came up on Baker, had from there just carnage. Baker was one Baker was able to make it out of there all right. Jason Baker that is, and but Joshua Baker he kind of got caught up in that at the end. But huge impact for that 3. You see Baker try to go to the outside. Seth Owens. I think what happened was he didn't realize how close Steptoe was at the bottom, and he tried to kind of correct himself, and everybody just went around. Steptoe unfortunately collected in that.
I I don't believe that there was contact to that inside car.
Yeah,
I
it's
do not
odd.
believe.
It's odd that he got around, but I think that in the mayhem, I think Mahone got into the back of him. Everybody was kind of slowing down. Oh no, it was Baker that hit him. Just turned him straight around.
And then Jason just drives on happily in second place. But man, that was just wrong place, wrong time for Jason. There was nothing he could have done to avoid that contact that unfortunately tore up Seth Owens' race car.
Yeah, that was a gnarly hit. Um, well, how about we bring up Jason Steptoe? I'm not sure if he won that first stage. 'Cause I'm not sure how they're gonna rule that, if it was at the time of caution or when the race went green. But we bring him up and ask him what his point of view from that was. Oh, as you were, Jason is not in the Discord. Well, how about we bring up Seth Owen? Well, yeah, let's bring up Seth Owens and ask what his take on that was. Seth, is Thaddeus in the booth? You got me?
Yeah. What's going on, man?
Hey man, rough go of it. What ended up happening there?
Uh, I haven't had a chance to go back and see anything, and I don't have a really high view of a lot of people right now, so I'm just gonna kind of keep it to myself. Um, just seemed like we were being a little too aggressive, a little too soon on the restart there. I know I saw some guys had a big run coming, and they went to the outside, and it felt like somebody slid up a little bit, but like I said, without being able to see it, I can't really say anything right now.
I'm tracking. You feel like you can get back into it, or you feel like you're done?
Luckily, I've got the one fast repair, which is gonna save me for right now. We've got a good truck tonight. You know, the Bandit feels fast, but it's just gotta watch out. I feel like there's been some questionable decisions being made early. It's a long race, and we're gonna go back here. We're just gonna try to play it smart, keep the truck clean the rest of the night, and try to get back up there.
Tracking. I know I brought you up last week, but you seem to be in the eye of the hurricane on that one, so I figured to bring you up this week.
Yeah, and they say the eye is the calm of the hurricane, but that one was a little rough.
Yeah, definitely in the wall in the wall in more ways than one on that one. But
Hey, man, it's Dega. It's expected. I just hope you guys are enjoying the show up there so far.
yes, sir, absolutely. We're well. Good luck to you, and hope you can make it to the end of the race and dodge anything else that might happen.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
No problem. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
I've got to say that Skull Bandit truck, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I believe that's Harry Gant that used to drive the Skull Bandit. It's either Harry Gant or Tim Richmond, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely a cool paint scheme. I love the throwbacks to some of these cars. We got Chris Griffin in the lead right now. He's in the Ray Everham throwback to when Dodge first came back into NASCAR around the early 2000s. They had Casey Atwood, Casey Kane, Bill Elliott was a member. He actually got a few wins in that 9 car. So definitely cool to see Dodge back in it and to see some paint schemes that I recognize. No, you're not old enough to recognize them, but definitely cool to see them out there.
Certainly not old enough. Although I do remember a couple of the paint schemes from when I was little and saying like the oh, I'm trying to remember the car that had the wing on it. Car
Car
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah,
I do remember some of those paint schemes, but definitely too early for me to have any clarity of it.
yeah, definitely a while ago, but Dodge kind of making a comeback. Hopefully they make it, and I'd imagine this is the plan: is that they're going to make it into the Xfinity or O'Reilly's, as you were, and the the Cup cars here in the next few years. But right now, really enjoying seeing the Rams back on track. And today they're leading with Chris Griffin in the 12. Jared Mahone's
Speak
still in it too.
Speaking of the Rams, we do have a question. I'm gonna go and uh, go and count them up. Actually, a couple of questions. Are there more Dodges this week, and what are the breakdowns of the brand? So I will quickly get the statistics on that as we come back to green.
Yeah, well, Trevor's doing that. I wish I could count. No, we are going to try to get as much information to you guys out there so you guys enjoy the broadcast. Definitely a big group of dodges today. And as of last week, as soon as the truck came out, I'm sure a lot of these guys jumped on the Dodge team or jumped from whatever brand they were at to Dodge because everybody's really excited about it. We got all those blank ones are going to be Dodges. Then we got the Chevys and Toyotas. So I am going to call the race, but we'll keep that up on screen for a while so you guys can get a good count. Coming to the green, we got Chris Griffin, Jared Mahone, Keith Ayers, Jerry McKinney, and Will Moore will round out your top 5. And we're green. Jared Mahone left out to dry. It seems like one of these lines is just goes back and forth between leading the race and having the dominant line behind you to getting left out to dry every other time. Like the other time it was the outside line was doing pretty good, but then the inside line didn't have enough help, and then the inside line formed up. That's a lot of this racing is just pure luck of you pick the right line that got you to the lead. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of skill that's done in this kind of racing. We had Dale Jr. back in the day. He was the Pod Piper, as he was known in NASCAR at these super speedways. But a lot of luck in this kind of racing too. You see an outside line start forming up. Jared Mahone now has help, but the inside line's still kind of holding steady. A lot of guys kind of drop back either from damage or just trying not to get involved in another wreck. You got Seth Owens back there. He's trying to kind of keep the nose clean because he's got his fast repair used. But right now, Keith Ayers and Chris Griffin, the two Dodges, they're up in the lead. And coming around to the backstretch, you got to watch that double yellow line. The double yellow line does still apply here in the sim as it does in real life. If you drop below the double yellow line, then, you're going to have to give up the position. And part of it is iRacing, part of it is etiquette. I don't think iRacing quite has the rule in there yet. It is kind of like an on-off track if you guys are familiar with the road course racing, where you have to give up position. I know that there are some games that do have that, but right now it's more of an etiquette thing. And the admins, as they're watching these races, they'll go back, and if somebody can prove it, there will be penalties for that. So these guys definitely got to watch that double yellow line because it will come into effect for this race. An outside line looking a lot better than it was, a lot healthier. Starting to kind of gain a few spots at a time on that outside line. Trevor, you still tallying?
I am, and I do have an update on the numbers. So we have 8 Rams in here, and there are 11 Chevys and 11 Fords. So that's 22 plus 8 is going to be 31. So, wait, I have my stand by. I have my numbers inherently wrong, but there are 8 Rams, so I can't confirm that. But I do believe Ford has the most trucks, if I'm not mistaken. And I will update those numbers as we are under caution. But it does look like the racing has cleaned up a little bit. We have the second pack forming back there. And we do have a little bit of double wide action here in the pack. And I think drivers are going, now that they've had that kind of shock, took a lot of trucks out of the race or chewed up their fast repair, these guys are going to be a lot more careful henceforth. So I am excited to see how the initial wrecks changes this race.
Trevor showing us why he switched degrees. No, but definitely no. I'm just kidding, Trevor. The definitely cool seeing all those. I know, but definitely cool seeing all those Dodges in there. I'd imagine that number's going to get bigger as seasons go along with more support that Dodge is going to give to both iRacing and NASCAR. But double wide racing here is everybody's kind of caught up. I mean, there are a few stragglers later on the track, but right now Chris Griffin leading this pack, kind of keeping it on the bottom. But Jared Mahone, he wants that lead back. You can see that outside line forming. But this is kind of like the calm before the storm, for lack of a better cliche. The outside line definitely can move you up, but once you get beside people and they'll start trying to drag you back by side drafting. Uh, Side drafting being pushing air on the back spoilers of the truck next to you. When a truck, as you can see that like they're side by side, when a truck starts coming up and side drafting you and pushing air on that back spoiler, it essentially just it creates more drag, and it's almost like you're getting like that other truck is grabbing the back of your truck and pulling you back so it can get ahead of you. With all these trucks side by side and with less than 10 laps to go until the end of the stage, I imagine you see a lot more side drafting. That's where we can get in a lot of trouble, because you'll see guys go low to side draft and guys come up to side draft, depending on where they're at on the track. Like if you look at where that 17 truck is, when he's between two trucks, if you go up to side draft that truck ahead of the other one, while the truck behind the one you're trying to side draft comes down, that's a right rear quarter panel. You're going straight around. So I would watch for that and see who can pull it off, and who kind of gets has that unlucky move where they get into another truck. Trevor?
Most definitely, and that side drafting can make the race or it can break it. I know it's one of those upper level skills where it takes a lot of trial and failure to get it right. Know a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people get it wrong, but it is definitely a tool to put in your toolbox if you can get it down.
Well, at a simulated 200 miles an hour, it's very easy to get it wrong. It's not like you're
Very
driving.
easy.
It's not like driving on the highway. It is definitely a skill that you have to build on from some type of foundation. So you definitely have to be careful. Generally, for me, I don't like to side draft unless I have to, unless it's super effective. Otherwise, I kind of like to keep it away from the other cars. Um, it's almost a little. It almost sounds a little bit lazy, but if you don't have to worry about the car behind you and you're just trying to work on runs, that's how you can also get ahead if you have good pusher, or if you are a good pusher. So that's my strategy for it, because if somebody's trying to jump all the way up to the high line and they're on the bottom line to side draft you, they're going to get thrown, they're going to get left out to dry. The line below you now has one less car to draft with, and you're just going to the front from at that point. So that's what I usually look for when I'm in these races. But these guys, not giving up an inch when it comes to these positions. Everybody kind of vying to make sure that they can get to the front. Stage point's super important. You saw the gap to the leader. Every stage point is going to either add or subtract from that. So, Jared Mahone is really trying to get up there so he can add to that cushion and, not have anybody kind of take away from it.
Most definitely, and I do think that we'll see the aggression start picking up later on in the race. I mean, the aggression's been very much prevalent right now as we see double file. Not too much. Oh, as they are bumping in the corners, as you can see there, but not too much happening in the pack. But things are definitely going to spice up as we come down to the end of the stage, because I do believe stage breaks are on lap 35. 35. So they've got 5 more laps to duke it out. So we're definitely going to see this gradually start to increase. As you can see, they are pushing in the corners on that high side. And that's what I was saying earlier about you have to have some really good pushers to carry that momentum, because you do have to, in fact, push in the corners. As you see there, the outside line pulls ahead almost. I do believe that they could clear that inside right now. So that's kind of to show the benefits of that high line. And you see them cycle down to that bottom, as I'm sure uh almost three almost three Dollar General car almost got in a little bit of trouble there, but luckily he was not uh in too much trouble. Actually, no, that's not the Dollar General car. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Sorry, my eyes. 20-year-old eyes, they're going bad.
Go eat some carrots real quick. Bryson McGee though, that was a good job of Bryson McGee keeping it in front of Joshua Baker. I want to say, yeah, Joshua Baker. Because he got a little squirrely there coming out of the turn. As you know, like when you're pushing, when you come out of the turn and the front wheels are kind of gripped up to the track. If somebody's right behind you, as we see Jason Baker, uh, pushing Chris Griffin, when you come off of that corner, it almost lifts up your back tires. So they have to be careful coming out of the corner, because if they come out and they move that wheel a millimeter farther than or less than the car in front of them, they're going around. Like this is super dangerous drive in here, getting toward the end. Everybody's hyping up the aggression, looking for those stage points. As we see Chris Griffin jumping up in front of Jason Baker. Jason Baker trying to go with the 58 of Josh Baker. These two worked super well over in Daytona together, and I'm not surprised to see them get to the front. And you got the Baker brothers 85 and the Dollar General 58. Those two guys working super well together. There's Joshua Robinson right behind them, catching up, and they take command of the race there, jumping down to the lower line. Now it's their stage to lose at this point. They have the command. Do you think that they're gonna, kind of jump to different lines to kind of keep all the rest of these guys at bay, or you think they're gonna stick together, Trevor?
I do think that they're going to stick together. Now, obviously, they're working together really well. They've got to hold back Chris Griffin and Jared Mahone there on the top. But I do think that they're going to work very well together, because you saw them switch to the low line, and it almost looked like they were linked up the entire way down. So, which I personally held my breath a lot on that one, because I thought could have been very, very bad very quickly. But you can see, even though they're behind the two leaders of the inside row, they're still linked up. They're still appearing to want to create a run, and there they go. They did create that run, so they're going to continue battling it out. And you see Chris Griffin actually go up to block, and that gets Jason Baker a little bit loose. Oh, Joshua Baker on the apron was able to collect it and stay in front of Jared Mahone. Very tight racing there.
And good call on the run. Man, Jason Baker really putting the bumper to that 12 of Chris Griffin. One thing that was super impressive that I've been watching between these two is, they're able to draft in the tri-oval, and that is very delicate driving when you're thinking about like what is going on in the car. As we see them take the move on the inside of Chris Griffin, and the caution comes out for the stage. Chris Griffin will be your stage winner this time. We'll try to get him up to the booth in a second, but man, that got intense. I was having so much trouble trying to keep up with that and talk at the same time, so I apologize. But at any given point, that could have been a wreck. Trevor?
I've got to say, that block from Chris Griffin there on that backstretch, that was crucial for him to get this stage win. that was the stage winning move right there. And I think if we can keep this same level of calculated risk and calculated what's the word I'm looking for? But if calculated aggression, there we go. If we can keep this same aggression and same smarts, I think Chris Griffin could have a really good race truck coming to the end of stage number 3. But as we said earlier, it's Dega. Anything can happen. So I do think that it's going to be up and down potentially, but I think he's got a really good truck on him.
Chris Griffin, stage 2 winner. That was really impressive driving there at the end. How'd you end up staving off the Bakers behind you?
Yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to. I knew I was in a good spot coming to one to go. Jared helped me out a lot to get to the lead there, and I just saw the run coming from the outside, and I timed it about as perfectly as I could have. I knew I thought they might try and split me, but I knew I had Jared down there kind of as a blocker, so just made the right move at the right time, and was able to hold on and get the stage win.
Yeah, got a little squirrely there. How's the truck feeling?
It handles good. A little loose in the push, but it's a fast Dodge Ram right now. We're doing all right.
Most definitely love the Everham throwback. We'll let you get back to it though, as pit stops are happening. So, good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you, and good luck on the rest of the broadcast, boys.
Appreciate you.
Now, I do have an updated and correct this time breakdown, and I've got to say I was inherently wrong with those breakdowns. So, like I said, we have 8 Rams. That was about the only thing I got correct. I was wrong in that Chevy is actually the dominant manufacturer. They have 13 Chevys on this racetrack, 1 Toyota, and I think I wrote down the wrong number and just kind of read it. There is only 1 Ford, not 11, 1 Ford on this track. So those are the updated breakdowns of that. And I would like to mention in chat, we do have a Sperling fan, the 29, Jesse Sperling. He unfortunately had to be out of town for this week for work. So that is why we are not seeing the number 12 of Jesse Sperling. But I am number 29 of Jesse Sperling, but I am very happy to see that we still have some race fans tuning in regardless of the driver. So I am very happy to see that.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It's definitely cool to see you guys' comments and hear you guys' comments. We're gonna have Trevor read them every time we get a stage break because we do this for you guys. I mean, obviously we do it for the league, but at the end of the day, these are family members. These are guys that you're sponsoring. So we appreciate you guys, giving love to us and giving love to your drivers. Jesse Sperling of the 29 car, just to mention again. Vickers Auto, Vickers Auto Parts in South Carolina. They sponsored the last race, and we were super happy to have them on. So hope everything's well, Jesse. Good luck on your trip, and hopefully get to see you next week. Trevor.
Most definitely. And I've got to say, I'm looking forward to the stage number 3. Now, with it being so long, there is going to be a green flag pit stop if there's no caution. And that's going to be a big if there's no caution. Because, I mean, it's hard for it to not be a caution going with these speeds. But I like the calculated risks with these drivers. They're very efficient with their race cars. And so I think that this stage number 3 is going to be a lot in the controlled aggression to get into the front, and then I would say even bigger, it's going to be that green flag pit stop if there is one, because you have to pit with somebody or in a position where somebody is going to be around you so that you can cycle out back to the pack. Otherwise, you're going a lap down. No ifs, ands, or buts, unless there's a lucky break, but if you don't have help, you essentially are cooked. Mind my Gen Z language, but I think this is going to be a battle of those pit stops and a battle of track position going into those pit stops as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine, if you're Jason and Josh, I would definitely be, those two would probably definitely be communicating with each other as to when they're pitting. If I was them, I would run it out because you know that you have somebody coming with you. If you're a teammate, I would almost try to save fuel with some other cars, maybe even drop back just to kind of save some fuel and then, either hope for a caution where you catch everybody off guard and, you're already at the pack and then you have the most fuel, the freshest tires if you so choose to get tires. It does get a little bit loose on the outside, so tires towards the end maybe not a bad idea, but if you've already gotten tires, not entirely necessary, I would say. But I'm not sure with this new tire model because I haven't run a super speedway race um, with the new tire model. But it's definitely going to be cool to see how this shakes out as we're coming back to green.
Most definitely. And real quick, we actually do have Jesse Sperling watching this broadcast. So glad to see that Jesse is here in spirit. But we are back green, and it looks like the two Bakers, Joshua and Jason, are able to link up on this restart and just pull ahead of that outside line that has sort of checked up a little bit back on in the pack. And they do have a good little cushion to the pack here as we have third place coming up, and I'm going to say that they're going to stay tucked in line, and they're going to bring the rest of that inside line back up to them. And they've actually, this is 3/4 of the way through this first lap of stage number 3, and they've actually got a really good cushion to that outside line now. It's really hard to recreate momentum that is lost because then you have to add more momentum to it. And so we'll see them over the next few laps sort of reclaim that momentum and come back up. And we see the number 3 of Seth Owens actually hop up there. He's going to add to that momentum. So second line is definitely coming back, and it's gonna probably be back about the end of this lap, but already off to a good start as far as racing.
Yeah, and Seth Owens, did you remember from stage 1? He was in that first wreck, so he's got to be super careful here because at this point there is no mulligan. Like iRacing isn't like real racing in the sense that you have the option if the admins of the league so give it to you to have a faster pair. You go into pits, you make sure it's checked, instant repair of your vehicle. Seth Owens is one of the few. Well, probably not the few. Ooh, as we see the 78 straight into the wall, that was a hard hit. Dang, I would have been wearing my helmet in the sim if I hit the wall that hard. Holy crow. Speaking of fast repairs, I hope he still has his because that was a super hard hit.
I know these are virtual race cars, but geez, I even flinched at that one. I have a feeling he's gonna feel that in the morning, and he's not even in that truck.
Yeah, he's gonna have phantom pains from that wreck. That was pretty gnarly. Luckily we're in the, as you see, Matt Casbaro, he was involved somehow in that too. I'm wondering if it was, oh nope, the 18 just gave him a push out of the tri-oval. He got loose, and that 18 wasn't anticipating him coming up like that, and got into him again.
This really goes to show the reason why you have to be square whenever you bump somebody. Now that was a little bit of an extreme case, as he was almost committed to a different line entirely, but all it takes is an unsquare push, and as you see, that counted like 5 trucks. And so, I mean, all it takes is just a small bump in the wrong place, a little bit of pressure in the wrong side of the tailgate and the truck just goes around. There's so little weight in the back of these trucks where you can't really afford to have those bumps. Even a cup car where you do have more weight, I do feel the cup car has a little bit more leeway in my experience, but still, all it takes is a little bit of pressure in the wrong place and you're done.
Yeah, definitely very little room for error um, here at Talladega. I mean, you're going 180 miles an hour. There's not a lot you can do when somebody kind of pushes you. If you get loose, like all you gotta hope is that the car behind you doesn't get right up on your bumper again, like we saw happen there. Let's see if there's any takers to pit row. I wouldn't imagine so. There wasn't too many. Oh no, the leaders, Jason and Josh, and they have a line of cars following them. Two cars stayed out. Definitely an intense, you know, probably last pit stop. I'd imagine if they're coming out right now, they probably think that they can make it to the end. I would imagine there'd be a lot of fuel saving going on, but you know, I'm not sure what they have the fuel load gauged at in this race for these trucks. But if it's at 100%, you can make it about 40 laps. If you're able to stay in the draft and kind of stay off the throttle, that's even more. Speaking of more, Will Moore, this is Thaddeus in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey man, you're sitting pretty. You just came off a pit row. You're in second. How you feeling about this race?
Well, it's a super speedway, so whatever happens, happens. I'm just happy to be up here after missing the start. Have teammates been working great with each other tonight, and hopefully we can keep it in one piece and see where we're at the end of 43 laps.
Yeah, 43 laps. Speaking of, do you feel like you can make it to the end on fuel with this, or you're gonna? Well, I don't want you to give away your strategy, but how are you feeling on fuel with that?
Nobody was going to make it. I mean, on a full tank, we were 32 laps. So,
Okay.
we're going to have to pit again. So that's why I just stayed out. Didn't really see an advantage to it right then. I mean, other than maybe, have a little bit shorter of a time on pit road, but that's going to be up in the air between when people want to use a green flag stop anyway.
All right. Well, best of luck to you, Mr. Moore. Hopefully, you can bring some other guys in with you, so you got a good pack and make it to the end.
Thank you.
Now, all but 5 trucks is what I counted. All but 5 took fuel, or I'm assuming took fuel, maybe some tires in there on that pit window. Now, I'm sure that that's given them a little extra fuel where they can pit a little bit later. But honestly, if we get those same 5 trucks under some green flag pit stops, if those same 5 trucks, they're around each other in the draft, they have each individually have a good pit stop, they can short pit the field, and they'd be in a really good position once pit stops do cycle to be able to, once they get out, bump together and have the field sort of come back to them. So maybe this was just the right strategy call in the long run, potentially. Now, this is pure hypothetical, but potentially. We have seen those short pits work here at Talladega.
Yeah, like I mean, either way, I think I would want to pit. You get a shorter pit stop if you come in with fuel. Um, which I mean here it matters not as much as other tracks, but less fuel on and off pit road faster. Um, Also, like if there are a few cautions and you're just clutching it around Talladega, I mean, 32 laps, stretching it to 40, it is not a risk that I would want to take. However, we did see uh, we did see Jared Mahone clutch it to a victory at Lime Rock. Very different track, definitely a different way to save fuel there than here, but if he can do it there, who's to say that you can't do it at Talladega?
I do think that is possible. Especially you get towards maybe the back of the front pack, and you have that cushion behind you where there's not a truck tucked up to your tailgate. Pop in the clutch, you don't. I mean, there's no telling how much fuel you could save. I know that's a strategy that top level, even Coke Series drivers, they use that, and so I do think it could be a viable strategy. As we're coming back to green, the pace truck is in, and we're coming back to green.
Keith Ayers will lead him back to the green. He'll jump out here. I'd imagine he's going to try to go up and work with that other Dodge. Just Jared Mahone right behind him. You know, there really hasn't been a track that's shown an Achilles heel for Jared. From restrictor plate tracks to road courses to mile and a half, Jared has been very strong this year. And he'll tuck in behind him. And he's got Jason Baker right behind him. So that bottom line really linked up compared to the top line. And I've been saying it all night, Trevor. Like the restarts, it seems like one line just gets it together way faster than the other line, and it just causes this ripple effect throughout the pack that if you're just, luck of the draw, which line gets it together faster, and if you're not in the right line, then you're kind of SOL, for lack of a better term, when it comes to where you end up.
Most definitely. And I mean, those checkups, it could be something as simple as one driver launches just a tiny bit later than another. And that just causes a ripple effect, like you said, to those trucks behind him. Or maybe it's a strategy play where, hey, I'm swapping to the high line or I'm swapping to the low line. I mean, any small thing can affect these restarts. And it looks like we've got a little snaking on the backstretch from that high line as they are getting it back together to try and potentially catch up to that inside line. It looks like they've got a really big gap to that top spot on the inside line.
Yeah, there's a lot of draft. When you're a car behind that, it almost extends the draft out. You have this big wall essentially pushing all of the air out of the way for you, so you can be a little bit further back and still get sucked up to that front draft if you just kind of keep it in the right spot. But we got two car breakaways when it comes to packs, and that front pack, they might just keep getting away from this backpack if the backpack's running side by side like this. Side by side with the side draft, it just keeps pulling you farther and further back away from a line that's all in one row, like you're seeing there.
And one thing too, I'd like to mention, we saw this a lot at Daytona, where you'd think that they'd want to push for some position, but a lot of the field just kind of cycled down to the bottom there at Daytona. So I wonder if we see something similar to that here at Talladega. I mean, it's a pretty similar track, I would say, to Daytona. But I think that there could be a strategy play in there among these drivers unanimously to just kind of take this stage 3 and keep it clean so that we can get down to the end of the race so that you can win the race, because to finish first you must finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's also cliche, but you have to finish the race if you want to win. So that's a fair play, as we see that outside line still trying to make something happen. But to me, it's just too early. I would fall back in line, wait it out. The runs are going to come. Like, this is the racing is not going to stay single file till the end, I wouldn't imagine. So as it develops, you're going to see guys kind of want to take more as the laps start running closer and closer down to the end of this race. So you want to kind of just take it easy here, and then maybe at the last like 10 laps, that's when you really want to push. At this point in the race, if you're leading, unless you have an Earnhardt attached to your name, I don't think you're going to win the race. Like I don't, and that's not to take away from the strategy or the skill of these drivers. They are definitely good, but there's nobody's gonna want to follow somebody to the end of the race. Plus, we still have pit stops, so we have to see how that cycles out and if that's going to break this pack up a little bit more than it already is. But you're going to have to work with your teammates. Some of these guys, they might not know you, they might not know how you draft, so they might not want to stay behind you. I mean, if you're, say, the Bakers, who this season we've seen JD, we've seen Josh, we've seen them up there, leading these different races, and that's also Jason Baker. They are known to be able to take a push, or known to be able to push, but generally they only work with each other. The only reason we've seen that, as we see them linking up right now, all three of them together, they can take a push, but nobody's going to want to sit behind them because they've been so dominant at these tracks. There's a lot of guys out here that want to prove themselves and prove that they can win these races too. So, we're still developing a personality for these different drivers. It's not like real racing where you have that rapport in the pits. As we see Chris Griffin, he got turned, got into a hard hit in the wall, but no caution because he goes down the apron. Really bad break for Chris Griffin. He was doing so well. Stage 2 winner. That's unfortunate, as the action is starting to heat up at the front. But you don't have the same rapport as you do in real life racing. Like, yes, you can hang out in the chat, but most of these guys haven't met each other in person, so they don't know who they would like to race with. So you really got to rely on your teammates and the guys in this pack, and hope that you have enough at the end to get that win. Trevor?
Most definitely. And we actually do see Jason Baker break off and break that 3-truck tandem there with his brothers, and he said, I want this inside line. I'm liking the inside line. I know I've got some help out there, but I'm gonna take it and get pushed by the 38 of Keith Ayers. I will say, we do have another a number 5 Derek Grigsby fan. Grizzy. Oh my word. We do have a number 5 fan here in the chat, and so I'm sure they're.
Oh, one Baker and then the other. Ooh, the 58 almost airborne on that one. The 85 keeps going, but the 58's still wrecking. Oh, and he's into the inside wall. No caution, all on the infield. And he'll get going again. But there you see it. They were trying to jump in front of him. They thought they were clear of JD, and they just weren't quite there yet. There's another view from behind.
I do believe that rear tire was airborne. There we see the 5 of Grigsby, now that I've got it right. But let's see here. Hard hit. Oh.
Followed by another one that bent in the front of the truck. And he's going to have aero damage. Oh, and that did it in. He's going to have aero damage, but I'd imagine he's going to run a pit road, maybe use that fast repair if he hasn't already. But Derek Grigsby, he's up there in the front, man. They were making some good calls there in the chat. He is racing for the lead right now.
He's in the lead right now. Yep. As we come through, he's leader of the outside line. I do think he's going to get it here at the line, although the start-finish line for Talladega, if you don't know, most tracks it's dead middle on the front stretch. Actually, here at Talladega, you have to keep racing almost until turn 1. And so that's changed a lot of the race results in NASCAR. just because of the different position of that start finish line. But Grigsby does get it done. He has led a lap tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And he's looking pretty good. He's getting pushed by the 24 of Hockley there on that high side, and he's able to really use that run off the high side.
Yeah, the high side definitely underrated. We're gonna try to go on board with the 5 car today. You know, coming to the line, there's that line that that Trevor was saying is further back than most tracks. You can see he's running that high line. He can't really see below him unless he looks to the left. So he's got to trust his you know, in-car spotter, or if somebody is in chat with him spotting for him. And he's keeping it. He has to keep it on the high side. And I imagine that's where the breakdown was for the 2 Baker Brothers trucks. Was, you know, they thought they were clear. Maybe they're only using the AI spotter, and the AI spotter called them clear, and that's happened to me before. But you see him keeping that line, looking at the white line to the left. Like if you look where that black dot is on his windshield, you can see like when he gets through the turns, he kind of puts that black dot on the white line and keeps it there because he knows there's a truck on the inside of him, and he knows if he tries to move without really seeing if he's there or not, that he's going around. But, you know, Grigsby today doing a great job. With it, and what did you say their sponsor was again, Trevor?
That would be the old money cards on eBay. Sorry, I call
Old
it
money
monkey.
cars.
Old
I was
money
wondering.
cards.
I was like, man, I don't know how to read, but that doesn't look like the word monkey. Old money cards. That's excellent. Well, they are up in front in that Dodge Ram. Cool once again to see, still seeing those Dodges run strong, even though they're the minority in this field. They're definitely been doing well today. Unfortunately, Chris Griffin got into that incident where he got turned, but he was leading earlier. We got the 5 Grigsby up there in the old money cards Dodge Ram. But now the lead cycled back.
And one thing I would like to mention, when we went to that onboard, we were actually able to see the telemetry. I was seeing him back out of the throttle, and that does 2 things. One, most importantly, that saves fuel. Number 2, that allows his truck, to back into his pusher and link up for those pushes. And so I think that's going to be a good strategy. Even though he's got clean air on that front grille, he's going to be statistically burning the most fuel, because the further you are up front, the more that you're going to be burning fuel. But he's going to be saving more fuel than he would as opposed to if he was just going flat out. And so that's actually a new strategy I've never seen before. And let's see how it works, ladies and gentlemen. And he is still up there fighting for that lead as he gets that run off the backstretch. And he is actually pulled ahead of that inside car. Oh, contact there back in the pack. We see 3 wide. Was able to keep it straight. I do believe that is one of the Bakers. I do believe that was...
Was that 85 of Jason?
Jason Baker. Looks like he just got a little bit of contact, didn't like it, and he was able to reclaim the truck there on that 3rd lane, get it back under him, and he's going to cycle back until he can fall back into line. There he goes. And he's got some work cut out to get back to where he was, which thankfully he didn't drop too far for his sake.
Yeah, Christopher Hockley, last season's champion, really pushing Grigsby now. The aggression's, you know, it keeps ticking up little by little. You know, every once in a while we get these wrecks and they kind of back down, but they know there's 26 laps to go, coming to 25 in this race. So, a lot of trucks jumping off to pit row. That's going to be half the field. I imagine the other half is going to jump in next lap. I mean, if I'm the pod piper there, if I'm Grigsby, I'm coming over comms. I'm like, hey guys, like, stay out as long as possible. Like everybody pit together, like first pack, second pack, letting these guys know. Oh, and we got a wreck.
Oh,
The 41. Oh, Baker up
on
on the
the
wall.
door.
Zane
Jason
Smithing it.
Baker. Oh man, and he's. Let's see if it does it.
And he's going to
Oh
have to take a
man,
tow back to pit row. Jason Baker up on the wall. That is not how you want to get around Talladega.
I thought
Not
it
the
was going on the
optimal,
lid.
not the optimal lane from what I'd imagine. I've heard the high side, but he was so far on the high side, he ended up riding the safer barrier around the turn. Not his fault. Just hit it at the perfect angle. Unfortunately, it does not flip over, and he has to take the tow back to pits. But what an odd wreck! Like you see cars flip, you see cars catch air at Talladega a lot because, when a car is designed to go one way, and he's just at the mercy of the wall at that point. When a car goes one way and it turns the opposite way of the direction it's supposed to be going, the car picks up a lot of air, so you'll see him flip. But riding the wall at Talladega, I don't imagine you see that a whole lot. And Josh Baker out of the race.
And I do believe that first contact was just, for lack of a better term, miscommunication. You see, let's see here, 41. He's coming up here and.
Yeah,
He goes to that low line, and there was already a truck there, and he just didn't know.
So Josh Baker, now Jason Baker out of this race. Man, it's just an odd wreck. It's kind of taking the words from me because that's not some, you saw it on Kansas in real life with Zane Smith. That's what I was saying. He was Zane Smith on the wall, but um, usually you just see him flip. Instead, he just kind of took that wall for a ride, which, unfortunate for him, especially landing on the roof. And we were coming into pits.
Now, one thing I would like to mention, those trucks that pitted right before that happened, actually, they've got a pretty decent, I would say, advantage because now that they've already pitted, they don't have to pit under this caution. As we see all those cars that were just on track there, they come in to take their fuel. Well, the trucks that already pitted, they've already got their fuel to the end of this race, and so they don't have to bleed position
Well, see,
to take that.
so to me, the advantage goes to these trucks. The trucks that stayed out, I feel like, are at an advantage because now, you know, they all got on pit row fine. They all got off pit row fine. Everybody's bunched up. There is no break in these trucks. There's no risk of the other pack, which kind of had a considerably larger amount of trucks go in. They can't break away. So to me, the advantage goes to the trucks that stayed out because now they're going to be right there, and track position, yes, that's important. At any other track, this is Dega, baby. Like they're going to go from front to back, back to front through the next 15 laps. Um, so I'd imagine that it is going to be uh advantage to them, and they have a lap extra of fuel. Trevor?
Potentially. I mean, I do like that other insight, as to the what ifs, and so I do think that that could be an advantage also for not just them but everybody. In that maybe one of those guys in that big pack that pitted, maybe they got a bad pit stop, and uh, maybe they didn't lose quite so much. And I'm just getting word. Looks like one of my dad's buddies actually called me out in chat, saying I want to go fast. That's a Talladega. Uh, that's
I
a
want, I want to go fast.
that's a reference right there. uh, Thank you, James. But yeah, I do think that this could actually play into a lot of everybody's advantage, and that there's no guesswork as well.
Yeah, speaking of advantages, on that 12 truck of Chris Griffin's going to get the wave around. And then speaking of references, I'd imagine that's what, Jason Baker was probably quoting Talladega Nights, like, "Oh God, I'm upside down," when he came around on that wall. Um, you know, love to him though, uh, fellow Marine. Unfortunate set of circumstances is going to take him out of the race today. But look who's back at the front.
Jared Mahone,
Jared Mahoney
along with
back at
Keith
the front.
Ayers,
Yeah,
and
Keith Ayers holding strong, and Wilmore.
I, I mean, I would like to say, ooh, I'm surprised, but we've Jared has already proved that he has a good truck on him. So I do think that we'll see a lot out of him tonight. And actually, I'd like to take this opportunity as we're getting into the late race. If anybody has any drivers that they have in mind, but who's gonna win this race? Let's see who can call it. I know I called it there at Daytona and against Thaddeus's better intuition, but you know, who do you think is gonna win this race?
And we got Brewer in chat as we're coming to green. Imagine that CJ Brewer. But
Yes, sir.
Jared Mahone leading
Uh,
him to the restart.
it was a tough break for CJ Brewer. 4 minutes and 30 seconds of damage left. Man, tough break for CJ.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate chain of events. But we're coming around. Will Moore capitalizing being behind Jared Mahone. He's going to have the second place. And Caleb Sibbett coming up through the pack. Caleb Sibbett with a different paint scheme this week. A little dark to see. Maybe we can get a better look at it later on, but he came almost out of nowhere. He's had a very quiet day. He's got the 43 Toyota paint scheme there. Oh, but he's going to get left out to dry in the middle. It looks like that 38 is going to just kind of drive around him. Followed by the 18.
And one thing I'd like to say too, going back to what we've talked about before, I feel like Talladega is another good track to have a very quiet day at. You know, you just turn laps and then be there at the end. I think that could be a very good thing for the 43 of, I do believe that's Caleb Sibbett.
I'll tell you what, I've never had a quiet day at Talladega.
It's hard to do, I will say. But it does look like we almost cycled into two double file racing, but right as I say that, a third line forms, and I wonder if we're going to get any takers on that.
Man, getting dicey here. And just wanted to address CJ's comment. The broadcast is going good. Unfortunate chain of events to have 4 minutes and 30 seconds worth of damage, so I apologize for that on your day, but hang in there, man. There's still racing to go, and there's still wrecks left to happen. We're 3 wide, back from 4th place on. Jared Mahone leading, Will Moore right behind him, Seth Owens following suit in the number 3 Skull Bandit truck, and Emil Duna making his way. He also had a quiet day today, just making his way quietly up to fourth. So, they're all vying for that podium position right now. But, anything can happen. We got like just about 7 laps left of this race, and these guys are really starting to throw it in there. It's actually calmer than it was a lap ago, but still just an absolute storm brewing with all this 3-wide racing going on. You see Chris Griffin, he comes up, gets a little bit loose. Chris Hockley's got to make sure he leaves him enough space.
Almost 4 wide. Almost 4
18
wide.
guys. I apologize.
18. And we do have one call in the chat. They're calling the 5 truck of Grigsby. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out for Grigsby. I know he's led some laps here tonight. And we've also got some shout outs for the 43 of Caleb Sibbett and the 17 of Josh. So got some call outs in chat, got some really good racing. This is a pretty good race so far, and also 14 of Emil Duna. Now that we've got it right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I gotta read that comment. Do it for Turi. That's for Old Money 23X of the Old Money. I'm assuming of the Old Money card shop for that 5 of Grigsby. But now, like, the stage is set. We've got 17 laps to go. These guys are getting dicey, especially towards the back of the pack. It's so it's almost like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. When you 1 step back, excuse me, when you get back there, because you're just trying to look for a line. You're trying to look for some type of advantage to get you further up. And so is everybody else. So you're over here trying to fight for position, and lines are moving super fast, and you got to make split-second decisions to try to get yourself in a position where you're going to advance. But right now is a traffic jam with everybody 2x2 on back. But it is not going to stop. It's going to stay like this until the end of the race, or worse, or better if you're watching. If you're in the truck, absolutely not. You are stressed out. I know I am palm sweaty, mom's spaghetti if I am in that truck right now. And these guys, especially when they start taking it 3 and 4 wide, as you see that 34 truck, it says 29 on the side. That is Jesse Sperling's number, but I'd imagine that they're trading paints is so finicky, so he's probably running a paint scheme, but we're going to pretend like he's the 34 right now because that is the number where he is being scored as. But see that 34 jump to the high side now. Now they're making it 3 wide, 3 truck tandem on the outside, making it work. They're gaining positions.
I've got to say, that third lane, as sketchy as it may be, it's not a bad call. We're down to 15 to go. I don't think the third lane is necessarily a bad option here. Now, it would be a bad option if there was a big wreck and we get the big end of tonight here on that third lane. But you can really carry a lot of momentum. Here at Talladega, it's actually why. Oh, right as I
there
said,
it is.
commentator's curse. That I do believe to be the big end. I lost track of how many trucks just got collected in that. Oh my word,
the 12
that
gets
was
nailed
a
by
lot.
the 5. Nope.
Oh, man.
Stop. Oh man, sorry.
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
stressing for them. I'm seeing the trucks come up. Huge wreck. And that was started, it looks like between, that was the 13 of Matt Casbaro getting into Josh Robinson. The 17, 12 just gets nicked and goes around. They're still wrecking. It looks like the 5 made it through a bit. He might have some left front damage. The 9 collected. It's going to be the 17, the 9, the 65. Ooh, that was a hard lick too. Looks like the 65 went into the inside wall. The host of our mobile collected in it.
Oh,
That is
no, my spirit animal.
half the pack.
I've
If
got
no
to
gap,
say,
no car, Trevor. If no gap, no car.
Earl, roll tide to that, I've got to say I deeply apologize. I do believe that was a little bit of commentator's curse right there. Anarchy, as you could say there. Oh, man.
You're about
But
to get a
yeah,
big bill in the mail, Trevor, for that one. Man, the whole pack just decimated by that wreck.
I'm sure the manufacturers and teams are not quite happy, or at least their bank counts are not that happy. But I will tell you who is happy. That is the Sibbit fan in chat saying, "Let's go Sibbit," and we'll see how Caleb Sibbit does. He's sitting in 6th place. He's in a pretty good position. He's going to be third place outside row on this restart.
Yeah, those quiet guys still keeping it clean and still up in the top 10, top 6, I should say, because they're super close to the end of this race. We got 13 to go. If I'm up there, I don't want to be in the lead. I want to be behind that lead so I can use that slingshot and get past them on the last lap. I want to wait until the very last second to try to make that pass because that's the only one that's going to matter. But after that wreck, I'm going to have to ask Bobby to update our liability insurance. Maybe Trevor, you're grounded from the Game Boy for that commentator's curse because that was gnarly.
Oh dang! No, I'm a really big what's the word? Kind of like green at the racetrack. I'm really big on superstition, and so I don't necessarily feed as much into the commentator's curse, but after tonight, I will be definitely not just green, not just bull peanuts, but also commentators better not be talking about me.
Oh, most definitely. I am 100% on board with the commentator's curse, so I apologize to anybody involved in that. But yeah, we're definitely superstitious over here at Van and superstitious on the racetrack as well. I've had the commentator's curse get me a few times. I'm glad I wasn't the commentator on this one, but man, took out a lot of contenders too. Bryson McGee was up there. Chris Griffin was our stage 2 winner. Derek Grisby was leading. All those guys have been up in the front, so an unfortunate turn of events there, but we're gonna see who can survive these last 13 laps.
Most definitely. I mean, this is really going to shake up that battle for the lead going into very, very late race. Oh, and I do have someone in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. That is going to be the old money cards on eBay person. Shout out to them if you need some old money cards. Go on eBay. They've got you. But bold peanuts is a real thing. So Justin, do not bring them in my pit area. I will tell you to leave.
That is so bizarre. I've never heard that, but I've only gone to races as a fan. I haven't gone as a driver. Trevor, you have gone to races as a driver, so I'll take your word for it. Boiled peanuts also a very southern thing. I didn't come across them until I was here in Louisiana. I'm from Arizona, so it's I would definitely take that to heart. Trevor's also a big believer in not wearing green when you're in the car. You believe that's bad luck. If you've got if anybody has any other, like, you guys can leave them in the chat. We need to take notes on that, just so we don't do it in the broadcast. But speaking of green, Seth Owens in that Skull Bandit car, he is, kind of putting that one to shame. Trevor, what do you think?
Well, I was actually just about to mention that. Weird thing about it, and also Jared Mahone has some green on his truck. You're not supposed to let it show anywhere visible, but they're beating the curse on that one. Jared being your points leader, Seth Owens been a contender as well throughout the season. So, maybe they've got something we don't. I mean, maybe they've got that penny facing up in their seat. Who knows?
And real quick, Caleb Sibbitt's dad, Tony Sibbett. Shout out to Caleb. So Caleb, if you're watching this or you end up watching this, your dad's watching, so you better do good.
Hey, that's one thing. I always love doing good when I've got somebody I know watching. But
Yeah,
I tell you what, Pace truck is in. We're coming back to green.
Jared Mahone going to lead him to the green. Seth Owens in second. Will Moore, Emil Duna, Keith Ayers. Let's see who can hash it out here at Dega. Jared Mahone with a huge jump on that start. And once again, this time the inside line, the dominant line, but the trend stays inside line, outside line. One of these lines breaks away every single time we have a restart. So that's very interesting to see. You'd think that like everybody would kind of try to stay in line to keep their position, but that outside line reforming as we speak, but they got a long way to go after kind of dissipating the second the green flag came out.
Most definitely. And I mean that outside line has devolved into I count 4 trucks on that second groove, plus a couple more up at the wall. I do think we're going to see it come back here in the next couple laps. I see a couple of trucks wanting to step out, showing a little bit of body language, saying, "Hey, if I go out, see who's going to go with me." And we actually see that from Seth Owens. They're in that 3 green machine, the Bandit, if you will. But the outside line is starting to come back a little bit. We've got 3 trucks there at the back. They're pushing back up to those 2 a little bit ahead. So I do think that outside line is going to reform, but it's just going to be a matter of when.
Yeah, I think if you're on that inside line and you're 5th on back, you're going to wait for that opportunity. When you see that outside line, you're going to jump to the outside line at the very last second. You want to wait until you are in a prime position to make it to the front, as that outside line, it's going to make it more difficult when you got 3 cars up there. So these guys are going to have to either work together or kind of cede their position. We see Chris Griffin get real close to Christopher Hockley right there. He's going to pull right in front of Duna. Oh. And I hope Emil was wearing his brown pants on that one. That was close. They're coming around that outside line, just not able to form. You got guys trying. Joshua Robinson jumps to the outside. He's got Jason behind him. Jason pushing. It's getting tight, folks. They were right there, right behind each other. Ooh, that could have been bad.
And it does appear that inside line has fell apart. Now, they do have a 4-truck breakaway there at the front, but that outside line, it's coming. You already see 3 trucks pushing really hard in the corners. They're making up some ground, and so with that 4-truck breakaway, it's going to be a matter of time as to when the pack catches back up to them. So, and you can see the outside line almost looks to be a little bit bigger than the inside line.
Yeah, the outside line definitely starting to form up. These guys know that they need to get up there. The laps are winding down. I almost feel as if these guys if enough cars can get nose to tail, it won't even take the whole pack. If you can get 4 cars nose to tail and you can keep that nose to tail throughout the track, you're gonna get up there. But these guys kind of trying to figure out where they're dicing out, figuring out who they can work with, who they can't. But it's late in the game. You got to go, or you're just going to be left in the dust. As we see that far outside line, they're trying to swallow up those 2 cars to the inside. Baker's going to have to get past them if he wants to get up to that lead. And we see Sibbitt jump to the outside.
And that could be the move for Sibbitt. You see the people behind him a little bit unformed, but all it takes is that third line to get formed up, and you can really carry that momentum on that high side. But it appears that it has not went in his favor, and he's tucked back into that second line there. And so tough break for him, but battle is not quite over with. We still have 6 laps left, ladies and gentlemen. 6 laps to go. And it's just going to be a battle of if the second line can get formed up completely, and when it does. And it appears our second place truck actually just stepped out. He's bringing that second line with him, and I do believe that's the. Oh, it's not quite going to work out. It's not quite going to work out. He's hung out to dry there in the middle, but that third line has actually caught up quite a bit. I believe still about a couple of truck lengths back from that lead position.
Yeah, and it's turning into a duel with 5 to go. We got Seth Owens and Jared Mahone working together on the inside, but you got teammates of Steve Whitmore and Christopher Hockley, last season's champion, on the outside trying to get to that front row, and 3 on back behind those 4 cars. It is starting to amp up. Man, nothing gets my heart more pumped up than the last 5 laps of a Talladega race. These guys are really going at it right now. Ducking, diving, dicing, any D that you can think of, they're doing it right now.
You know, I always talk about when the gloves come off. They've came off a little bit ago, but it's always enjoyable watching these tight races. I have to agree with you there, because I think the reason why these lines are forming and then falling apart is because these guys are so.
Oh, Steve Whitmore!
Oh, hard into that inside truck. I do believe he hit the wall.
Oh, we got more trucks wrecking
secondary
behind.
Contact. Steve Whitmore went into the 29 there, into turn 1. Oh, jeez.
Steve Whitmore into Will Moore. Other cars collected in the aftermath of that Armageddon of a wreck. Tough break for Steve Whitmore. He was pushing Hockley up to the lead. Just misjudged it by an inch. I mean, that five truck's seen better days. He was trying to save his draft right there. He was trying to hustle, get back. Didn't see that 34 car on his outside and just got into him.
Appears so, and once that contact is made, I mean, your fate's pretty much sealed. It's just up to, for lack of a better term, God himself to save you there, especially if you're that truck that is all the way there on the bottom, and it just did not work out for a couple of those guys. But a lot of it, they were actually able to drive away almost scot-free. Lucky for them.
You can see the 58 was trying to hang back. He got collected in the aftermath of that. He was trying to slow down, just could not get it woed up enough, got loose, and got into the outside wall. And that's going to be, I believe, Joshua Baker.
Now,
but definitely shakes it up.
I don't think that was race-ending damage, thankfully, for his truck. I mean, you saw that front grille. It was pretty good looking. There's only 3 to go, and we are under caution. I do believe this is going to cycle out to a green-white checkered, and in doing so, it's going to be a dash to the end. You know, now, Thaddeus, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would have to put my money down on Jared Mahone. He's shown a lot of maturity in this race. He's showed a lot of composure. I would have to say that I'd have to put my money down on Jared. What about you, Thaddeus?
Well, first off, I'd say, Trevor, you're 20. If you're a betting man, I'd have to turn you into the authorities. But secondly, I would go with Keith Ayers. He's been up there this entire race. Kind of keeping his cool. But not only has he had a quiet race, he's also stayed out of all this trouble. I'm trying to think if he got into anything with anybody, but he's still got a clean truck. So, green, white, checkered, they are going to make sure that they stay up there. They're going to seek out the checkered flag, but they'll be there. There's going to be a chance 3 times for a green white checker tonight, so this might not even be the end of it. So we'll see if these guys can either keep it together or if we're gonna go into double overtime.
Most definitely. And if anybody else wants in on this imaginary pot, be sure to let us know in chat. Maybe you want to put some money down on a driver. Be sure to let us know. We'll definitely cue into that knowledge.
For legal reasons, it's an imaginary pot. Yeah, Jared Mahone is a good pick though. Like he's been dominant at every track we've gone to. If not dominant, definitely in the top 3. So not a bad pick. But I think Talladega is she has a soft spot for first time winners. I want to say Keith Ayers gets up there, or maybe even Seth Owens. But like I said before, it depends on who is going to go where. What line is going to formulate at the end of this? I would be very surprised if one line or the other, or if both lines are dead even coming to the stripe, especially with the way that I've seen this break up. So I imagine if I'm sitting in the back, I'd want to stay on that outside line. It's the end of the race. We're gonna try to, pick up as many positions as we can. That is where I would be, because that's the only line that's gonna move. If you dip down to the inside line, you might move forward, but if that outside line isn't really formulating, you're getting those spots anyway. So that's my bet. Is I think we're going to see a lot of guys jump to the outside, especially like with 1 to go. Everybody's going to be vying for position. What about you, Trevor?
Most definitely. I'm a man of my word. I'm sticking with Mahone. Just because I know the jump on that inside line can be really good, because you can really, like you were saying, swap lines if you give yourself a little bit of a gap and see which line is coming to begin with. And then also there's the possibility of people maybe on back actually being in the right spot at the right time and find that one gap that brings them to the front. And so I do think that one way or another this green white checker is going to be crazy. But I do actually have a couple of picks from other people. Bobby, our producer, says that his pick is going to be Caleb Sibbett. And then we do have another one going. Just maybe not bet so much as it is statement. The 12 of Chris Griffin is still going strong. So maybe we'll keep our eyes on 12 of Chris Griffin and keep our eye on the 43 of Caleb Sibbett, both of which have been very strong this race.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Hopefully everybody comes out of it unscathed. I think we've seen enough destruction for one race. Let's get this done, boys. They're going to come to the front straight. The pace truck is going to dive in, and we're going to have 3 laps to try to decide this. Well, 2 laps to try to decide this. Green, white, checkered. Jared Mahone's going to lead him. Seth Owens on the outside line. Which line is going to come out on top? And we're green. Jared Mahone, not as big of a jump as he's usually gotten, but he does have command of this race. As we see both lines kind of fall back. It's going to come down to these top 7 drivers. Jared Mahone keeping the inside. Seth Owens trying to make that outside work. He's still waiting on help from the outside. He doesn't get help. Seth Owens is going to be dropped in the middle of the pack. 18 car gets a little wiggle. He gets behind Seth Owens. Jared Mahone just keeping his line, keeping it straight. He's going to try to come out of this with the best finish possible. Right now, he is in the best position. Coming out of 4, Jared Mahone still in the lead. Seth Owens coming up on the outside, though. He's got to run on the outside. 18 truck pushing the 3. Jerry McKinney. Seth Owens now has the lead. 18 gets turned. Mahone's into the wall, into Chris Griffin. That's going to bring out the... Is it going to bring out the caution? No, this is the final lap. We're coming to the finish. Seth Owens out in front by himself. But he's got to be careful. These guys all have the draft. They're going to catch up to him quickly. And they're beating and
More
banging behind
carnage.
him. The 18 gets in the wall. Seth Owens still with a
ain't gonna
healthy lead. They keep it straight. Coming to line, I thought that was going to bring out the caution.
I thought it was too.
Seth
They had
Owens
already
coming up.
they had already taken the white flag out the holder. They were locked into one more lap.
Oh, the
And
34 is coming around. Seth Owens has got a block. He blocks him. Seth Owens' turn. Christopher Hockley passed him. Last lap carnage. They're coming to the line. It's going to be the 24, Christopher Hockley. He's going to survive Dega for the win. Keenan Kimber in second. Rodney Roberts in third. Rodney Roberts are Daytona winner, so, you know, no big surprise that he was able to make it back to the front. But man, what a last lap. I thought it was over and the caution had not come out. Christopher Hockley, your winner of the Dega 225.
I've got to say, my jaw is on the floor, and I'm speechless as to what the last lap and a half just held for us. What was in those cards? Those old money cards, if you will. A little bit of a stretch in that one, but man, we're looking at the replay on this, and it just looks like
Man.
Owens went to block and he was too late, and so turned himself on that front bumper.
I mean, at that point, you're doing everything you can, right? Like it is the last lap. This is for the win. You're racing the points leader. Just an insane amount of carnage on the last lap. We're gonna watch it one more time. View the 18. That's kind of where the wreck started happening, was when they came to the backstretch. That 12 truck was pushing with everything he had. You know, got the 18 a little loose. And we're coming around the 14, how to run on the outside. You know, he kind of gets left out to dry. I think this was the second. 18 into Mahan, hits Griffin.
That's what it was. It was a chain reaction caused from a bump through the front stretch, and second place outside just kind of got ping-ponged back into him. That's that 18 truck, and then he again just had nowhere to go. Wow.
Ooh, I don't know if they're gonna look back on that, because Keenan Kimber did drop below the double yellow line, but he came back up maybe just before he gained that position. And man, the three had such a huge lead, but that's the trouble at drafting tracks. You get that big a lead, you're done for. And there it is, Seth trying to throw a block.
Wow.
And leaving the win to last year's champion Christopher Hockley. Well, by the numbers, let's bring him in, the top three.
And real quick, there was a little bit of a dispute saying that should have been a yellow flag there at the end. I do feel in real life it would have been. And then congratulations to Caleb Sibbett. But let's bring in our top three.
Christopher Hockley surviving last lap mayhem. How did you get through that, Chris?
Oh man, I was stuck there on the bottom. I felt him beating on my outside there and wrecking, and just held her wide open, and then just waiting to see what the guys in front of me did, and the seas parted, and I was the last one standing.
Yeah, man, that was I know you're a great driver. I know you won the championship last season. But half of that had to have been luck. That was a lot of good guys got taken out in that, but not to take away from that, you got the win. So, what was your strategy going into that last caution, or coming out of it, I should say?
Uh, just try to make it to the finish in one piece.
Well, definitely mission accomplished. Trevor, do you have a question for Mr. Hockley?
Now, obviously, this is Dega. I'm from Dega. I know how it is. Uh, Going into that last restart, was it kind of in your mind that this is how the race could have finished with last lap carnage and just kind of whoever survives prevails? Like, was that kind of in your mind?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you got a last couple lap restart at Talladega or Daytona, anything can happen. It's always crazy.
Well, today you are the victor. You have anybody you want to shout out, Chris? I know we still have to do an interview with you about last season, but um, for tonight, who you got appreciative of, and you know, once again, congratulations on the win. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you guys. I got to thank my sponsor, Steve Lloyd. He has two Jiffy Lube locations here in Mechanicsburg, Camp Hill. He's a great guy, helps me out with a lot of stuff. And I want to thank you guys for the broadcast. You guys do a great job. And thank all the guys for that run the league. It's really fun.
Most definitely. Well, look forward to seeing you going forward, try to defend that championship. And just great race, man. Hats off to you surviving all that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a rough start to the year. I don't know. It's going to be tough to defend the championship from last year, but I'll give it my best try.
Well, if anybody can do it, you can. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Here you have I believe your second place driver, Keenan Kimber. How did you survive that last lap, Keenan?
It was a lot of luck. A lot of
Sorry, we seem to be having some
Can you hear me all
technical.
right?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
I'd say mainly it was a lot of luck. That's really how I navigated the last 2 laps. I stuck it somewhere and hoped, and it just worked out.
Well, we have seen you make some really, really big money moves out here, and at the two or three, I should say, kind of plate races this season. Why do you feel like you're kind of like? Do you feel like plate racing is kind of your thing, or do you kind of dread coming to these tracks? I know it's one way or another.
I love a plate race. I grew up a Dale Jr. fan, so I just took a liking to plate races early, and then, like, once I got on iRacing, I made it a point to be confident in myself at these plate races solely because all them Sundays watching Dale Jr. go crazy on plate tracks.
Most definitely. I grew up very close to Talladega for a few years of my life. Trevor grew up right outside of Talladega. So if you're in that part of the world during the early 2000s, you're either an Earnhardt fan or you're getting lynched. So definitely understand watching Junior be the Pod Piper at a lot of these plate tracks. Trevor, you got any questions for the second place driver, Mr. Gimper?
So, you've gotten second place here at Talladega. How do you carry this momentum from a plate track into the rest of the season? Like, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be good at plate tracks or whatever, but I feel like plate tracks can be a really good launch pad to carry momentum throughout the rest of the season. How do you plan on trying to carry this momentum?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's hard to translate anything from a plate track into like a normal half mile and a half or even a short track. But I really think what it does is it gives you a lot of confidence. And it also gives other people confidence in you that you're okay, he can hold a line, he's smart about his moves. So I'm hoping all it does is give me confidence and have other people around me gives them confidence in me to take care of them and not race me super hard when it's not needed.
My apologies there. Sorry, I was trying to make sure that the that my mic was muted to give you the respect of not hearing stuff in the background.
You're
Well,
all good.
excellent job today, finishing second. Um, on top of the congratulations, do you have anybody that you would like to thank?
Yeah, I would like to thank team owner. He trusts us a lot to not to give us some autonomy, join the leagues that we want to join, even if he doesn't want to be in them. Rodney and Jason were really good drafting partners today, as they always are at plate tracks. Aaron, he's one of my good buddies. I love working with him on plate tracks. It sucks that he wasn't here, but second place should make him pretty proud too.
Most definitely. Excellent job today, Mr. Kimber. Well,
Thank y'all.
hope you carry all that momentum to the Rock next week, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And here we have our Daytona winner, and now our Talladega third place restrictor plate wizard, Rodney Roberts. How's it going, boss?
Good, man. How are y'all?
I'm doing great, man. So we've been asking everybody, but how do you feel you got through that last lap? There's a lot of carnage, you picking up spots left and right, but you had to been sweating. What was your view going into that?
Uh, Try to get, the best position we can out of this. It's been an up and down race all day, and I wanted to be at the front most of the race. That just didn't happen, but uh, just took, one truck at a time, trying to get to the front in those 2 laps.
Yeah, well, you got there. You almost got up to the first place position there with all the carnage at the end, but we talk about Daytona. You won there. we t- we talk about restrictor plate tracks. Like what for the guys at home who kind of see all this, like what do you feel like is your key to success at these tracks? Because coming into the we go to Vegas and we joke about gambling, but Talladega and Daytona, those are the gambles. What do you feel like is probably the best bit of advice you can give to people that are trying to race at these tracks?
Just be you and be natural at it, man. You just can't be really scared at the track and get involved in the wreck. Uh, it's a chance you take, but for me, I like hitting that high side and trying to move up to the front because if you're leading the race, it's hard to be in the big one if you're leading it instead of being in the back and catching up in everyone's stuff. But just be you at it and everything else, and it'll come natural to you.
Well, you definitely were setting an example there with these two podium finishes at restrictor plates. Trevor, do you have a question for Mr. Roberts?
Yes, sir. So now you won at Daytona. You've got a podium here at Talladega. I'm sure you had these kind of marked on your calendar, RSVP'd, I am attending. But I want to know a little bit about Mr. Rodney here. So, what into the rest of the season kind of do you have besides these marked on your calendar? Like, what are the tracks you feel you're best at, and where are we going to see you?
Uh, uh, Let me look at the schedule real fast because right now I'm pretty much going to be part time because of the I rating cap. But I think hopefully you can probably see me at Kansas, Pocono, and later on, like mostly mostly I got left circled as Kansas, Pocono, Nashville, and Michigan.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing you there. You've got them marked on your calendar. Excited to see you take those tracks and do your best at them. I'm sure you'll do something very good there, especially with what you were saying about iRating cap. Obviously, it takes a lot to have a good iRating. So I'm, you're a good driver. So I'm sure we'll see you again there. And roll it back over to you, Thaddeus.
All right. Well, Mr. Roberts, as always, thank you for joining us up here in the booth. Do you have anybody that you would like to give a shout out to while you're up here?
Oh yeah, I want to shout out my team, Wesley, Nor, all the guys there, Keenan, Jason, Aaron, Dominic, and Derek and them, and y'all for putting on the broadcast and entire league. This is one of the most fun leagues I've been in so far, and I'm just glad to be part of it and be on here with y'all, and just having a really good time.
Most definitely. A lot of love for the league. Um, and, appreciate you coming out here. I know you got to run part time because the cap, but cool seeing you get a top three, and look forward, especially Kansas. Kansas is a personal favorite. Definitely be watching you there.
Oh yeah, hopefully, like I said, hopefully I was trying to win this since it's my hometown track.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I remember us talking about that. Well, you're always welcome back. I'm sure we can work something out with the admins to at the very least have you at these super speedways, especially Talladega. Special place, I think, for the three of in all three of our hearts for this track. So, but
Oh yeah,
appreciate you.
appreciate it, man. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good one.
You too, man. And, and we have one more guest, the owner of the High Powered Racing League, Emil Duna. Hey, Duna, what is going on, buddy?
Nothing. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, man. So I just wanted to kind of give you some credit. Everybody's been saying thank you to the admin. So, wanted to bring you up here and kind of interview you for a couple minutes. Talladega is a special track to us, so figured we'd give you the floor to kind of talk about the league a little bit. Um, so like first question would probably be, when did HPRL start, and where did you guys get your start?
Well, we started on the console. I think it was 2019. Um, we've been in leagues beforehand, and I've had the pleasure of running leagues for many years, all the way back to NASCAR '09. But yeah, we kind of put this together, and then obviously I kind of brought a few people over from the console version of, NASCAR and gaming and, whatever we were racing. And it was at first we obviously struggled because there's a lot of leagues on iRacing. There's a lot of good leagues on iRacing. You have to find a good group of people, and a good core group of people to make it, successful. And over the course of the last, 4 years, 3 years that it's been that we've been on iRacing, I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of special people and a lot of admins that have helped out throughout the season. JD Baker's been, a huge help to get this off the ground when it first started. Chris Griffin, Seth Owens, Jared as well. And like I said, it's just been a lot of fun. And we've been averaging, a 20 over 20 car count or truck count this year. So that's been a huge thing for us. And obviously, I believe that part of that also has to do with you guys taking the time to broadcast for us as well. So that's very appreciative. And that's pretty much where we've been at with it.
Well, we definitely have a lot of fun with it. So for those at home that are looking for a league, or you guys are recruiting, correct?
Yes, we're always recruiting. I try to. I know sometimes the recruiting landscape has changed over the course of the years. At least to me, it has. We used to, run recruiting races and, get a group of people and, obviously recruit that way. But with social media and all the groups on, Facebook or whatnot, it's been a huge help. You kind of don't get to see who's coming into the league at that point, but obviously it's a trial and error thing. But I do feel like we had a few issues, over the course of the season, with just some, just essentially mistakes and whatever, and everybody's trying to learn each other, which I think is a huge thing when you get a core group of guys together. When somebody new comes in, if there's 15 people that are part of the core group, they kind of know how you race. And when that new person comes in, it might be essentially a, a demeanor thing for them. They're kind of like, man, all these guys are really good or, really clean. And, some people just obviously come in and, they gel well. And then others, it takes a few races. So I do think we have a good group uh, over the course of the season. I mean, having 20 people show up at the plate tracks and road courses. I think we've built pretty well. And like I said, obviously there's always room for expansion and there's always room for improvement, especially on, my part. But I think we're doing an all right job.
Yeah, I think the skill level here in this league is definitely something that you can learn from. If anybody's out there watching wants to join a league, HPRL, I definitely recommend it. A lot of good etiquette out of drivers, a lot of good learning experiences. I was part of the league last season, but definitely a fun group of guys to race with. And actually, Trevor has a question for you as well.
All
If you
right.
want to take the time to answer that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Amil, you obviously very experienced. I mean, this is a league that has transcended like multiple platforms actually, from NASCAR Heat to now iRacing. That has to deal a lot in success of a league, and we come and we watch you week in and week out and see the talent of these drivers. And so I just have to ask, what is the key to success? What is the key to putting together a good group of individuals that puts on this fantastic racing? How do you do this essentially?
I wish there was I wish there was a answer that I could really give you. I get it. It's just kind of the meshing, obviously with others, and if you don't have that, essentially connectivity with your group of guys, I honestly don't think anything would go further than a few weeks. And again, it's been a trial by error thing. And like I said, over the course of the seasons that we've had, we've tried different point standings, we've tried different formats, we've done some other things. So it's trying to find a sweet spot without going too far, to lose, obviously the core group of people that you have. But, obviously, of course, it's great when you have, admins that very much help and, try to recruit and, help with, all the behind the scenes stuff. So, when you have people you can trust, and I've been fortunate to have people that I trust for every league that I've ever ran or been part of. So that's a huge thing for any league I feel out there. um, and is there a perfect answer to answer your question? No, because I think every league probably has different, options, opinions, how they do things. But I feel like that's what we've kind of done over here. And like I said, it's continued to work, and we're in our fifth season here in HPRL on the iRacing platform, and we continue to grow every year. And I just hope to continue to be able to do that for many years to come.
Most definitely. And honestly, like traction is a big part of it. Consistency in a group is another. And just keep hammering away at this league. Like I said, and to the viewers that are watching, like is great, fantastic league, fantastic people. I definitely recommend it. Um, well, while we have you up here, and I know you weren't the top three, but you have anybody you want to give a shout out to? You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if she's still watching or not, but my girlfriend Jennifer's was watching, so she said that the ending was pretty crazy, and obviously I was in the seat, so I seen a lot of smoke and as we were coming around the track. So um, and obviously my daughter Violet next week, I'm pretty sure I'll probably have to run a bluey truck or something for her so she could, be involved in it a little bit. But of course, my admin team and everybody that's helped over the course of the years, whether it's JD Baker, Jared, Chris, Seth, there's countless other people that I'm forgetting, and I do apologize. Has been a huge help as well. And then of course, you guys as well for putting this broadcast on. We've all kind of learned together. And like I said, when you guys first started, I remember you profusely every week. You were like, "We're gonna keep getting better at it," and it's amazing to see. Just hopefully we put on a good race for you guys to broadcast, but you guys are doing a hell of a job with the broadcast as well. So that's very much appreciative. And obviously, hopefully it continues to work out every week here, and hopefully I could start getting some better finishes as well. So I'm kind of tired of it being in the back and having bad luck.
No, I have no doubt that you'll be up there. Super strong driver, and no, we appreciate you giving us the opportunity to broadcast for you guys, and went from trying to do it by myself to having a great team. So that's what makes everything successful. So appreciate you, appreciate the league, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week at Seth's birthday bash at the Rock.
The Seth's birthday bash 200 at the Rock. Looking forward to it, bud.
All right, thank you. Have a good night, guys.
You too. All right, real quick, we're gonna go through the results here. Gonna have our boy Bobby in the booth bring them up and see your finishing order today at Talladega. In first, of course, we have Christopher Hockley. Second, Keenan Kimber. Third, Rodney Roberts. Fourth, just missing the podium, Caleb Sibbett. But excellent run today. The 51 of Patrick Schaefer. Very quiet day for Patrick Schaefer. The 18 of Jerry McKinney. The 17 of Joshua Robinson in seventh. Emil for his humbleness, top 10, got eighth. Ninth, Steve Whitmore came back from that gnarly wreck. And then old money cards doing it for Turi in 10th of Derek Grigsby. Trevor?
The 11th place is going to be the 3 of Seth Owens. He was able to bounce back from that there at the end off of 4 to get almost top 10. 12th is going to be Will Moore. Followed by the 38 of Keith Ayers, your pick. Obviously went downhill there at the end. Same with Will Moore. I know he was doing well as well. 14th is going to be Bryson McGee. 15th is going to be the 12 of Chris Griffin. He had a tough break there at the end, followed by Jared Mahan, who also had that tough break there. Mahone, again, sorry, with the wrong names. 17th is going to be Jason Baker. Tough break again for him, as he was 8 laps down, followed by CJ Brewer. Matthew Kisbaro, they're 19th, 15 laps down. Jason Steptoe is going to be 20th, 16 laps down. JD Baker is going to be 21st. 22nd is going to be David Palmer, and rounding out the field is going to be Joshua Baker. Another tough break for him.
All right, and that is your finishing order for today at Talladega. For Trevor, I'm Thaddeus, and a big thank you to Bobby in the booth in the back for production. Fantastic job, buddy. Keeping everything running smoothly behind the scenes. We'd also like to give a special thank you to, well, it kind of seems like we're thanking ourselves, but oh, who am I? It's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Van Broadcasting, thank you for bringing tonight's race to all of you watching at home. Next week, the HPRL Truck Series leads to another legendary track. Back from the depths, back from the grave. We're going to Rockingham, baby. We know some of the drivers did well out front in Talladega, but can they conquer the Rock here next weekend? Or sorry, next Thursday and get it done. The Rock, a very technical track. Let's go move forward from the super speedway high-paced racing there to the technical challenging Rockingham Speedway. Once again, I'm Thaddeus. And remember, if you need somebody to broadcast for you, if you need a veteran and a 20-year-old Alabama college student, get in the van.